Dear students, welcome to Creative Educational Idea. Today we shall elaborately discuss on Geoffrey Chaucer. So Geoffrey Chaucer, he is called the father of English literature as well as the father of English poetry. He was explicated as the father of English poetry by John Dryden. So Geoffrey Chaucer, he is a poet, author as well as a civil servant. So he is best known for his creation, the Canterbury Tales. Understood? He was the first writer to be buried in what has since come to be called Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. Dear students, take a glance where Geoffrey Chaucer was born. He was born in London, in United Kingdom. Understood? Take a glance on when did he pass away. He passed away on 25 October in 1400. Understood? So, if we are talking about his wife was Philip Wright. She was born in 1366 and passed away in 1387. Let's know about Geoffrey Chaucer's children. They are Thomas Chaucer, Louis Chaucer, Agnes Chaucer, as well as Elizabeth Chaucer. So definitely, dear students, Geoffrey Chaucer was influenced by William Shakespeare, Alfred Tennyson, first Baron Tennyson, as well as Karl Marx. So today we shall exclusively talk about Geoffrey Chaucer. So which questions will come in your SSB examination? So without wasting time, let's talk about some indispensable questions on Geoffrey Chaucer. Between which sets of date did Chaucer live? So Chaucer was born in 1340 and he passed away in 1400. Geoffrey Chaucer, he was born in 1340 and passed away in 1400. Take a glance on question number 2. Chaucer lived during the reigns of Edward III, Richard II, as well as Henry V. So, dear students, can you tell me which creations were Edward III, Richard II, and Henry V? So, some historical creations were also created by a greatest poet of English literature, which is William Shakespeare. Understood? Which William Shakespeare? He is the Bard of Avon. Why? Because he was born on the bank of the Stratford, on the bank of the Avon River, and there was a village which name was Stratford. So William Shakespeare is called the Bard of Avon. Bard of Avon. Let's go to the next point. Which of the following was the closest contemporary of Chaucer? So William Langland. Let's know why. William Langland, he was the one of the greatest example of Middle English period. If we are talking about William Langland, he was one of the greatest example of Middle English period. Who? William Langland. And he was born in 1330 and passed away in 1400. Understood? Mainly he is known for his pious plowman. He is known for his pious plowman. Let's go to the next point. Who called Chaucer the father of English poetry? John Dryden, which I have already explicated a few minutes before. Who called Chaucer the father of English poetry? John Dryden. Let's know about Matthew Arnold. Arnold, who was Matthew Arnold? He is also an English poet and a cultural critic. Understood? Matthew Arnold was also an English poet as well as a cultural critic. And he was born on 24 December 1822 and passed away on 15 April 1888. Understood? Who? Arnold. If we are talking about Spenser, who is known as the poet's poet. Who is called the poet's poet? Spenser. Understood? Poet's poet. Who described Chaucer as the well of English? Spenser, who is known as the poet's poet. He described Chaucer as the well of English Undefiled. Understood? Let's go to the next point. With Chaucer is born our real poetry. Who holds this view? I have already told you about Matthew Arnold. He was an English poet as well as a cultural critic. Who? Matthew Arnold. He was born on 24 December in 1822 and passed away on 15 April in 1888. Matthew Arnold, he was an English poet as well as a cultural critic. Chaucer found his native tongue a dialect and left it a language. Who makes this observation? Chaucer found his native tongue a dialect and left it a language. Who makes this observation? This correct option is option A, Lodge. Chaucer found his native tongue a dialect and left it language. And that person, Lodge, who is known as Lodge, made this observation. Once again, let's know about Matthew Arnold. Chaucer is the earliest of the greatest modern. It was the view of Matthew Arnold. Chaucer is the earliest of the greatest moderns. It was explicated by Matthew Arnold. If Chaucer is the father of English poetry, he is the grandfather of English novel. Who made this remark? This remark was made by G.K. Chesterton. Understood? If Chaucer is the father of English poetry, he is the grandfather of English novel. This remark was made by G.K. Chesterton. Let's take a glance on the next point. Who says about Chaucer's characters? Here God's plenty. And he also called to Chaucer the father of English poetry. John Dryden. John Dryden says about Chaucer's characters, here is God's plenty. In which month did Chaucer's pilgrims go on their pilgrimage? Which I have already told you, April. In the month of April, Chaucer's pilgrims had gone their pilgrimage. So let's know how many pilgrims had participated, how many pilgrims had gone in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales? So 29. In Chaucer Canterbury Tales, there are 29 pilgrims who are going on the pilgrimage. Understood? Let's know. Next point. How many pilgrims in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales represent the knighthood class? 3. Understood? 3 pilgrims in the prologue. Prologue. What is the meaning of prologue? Introduction time, introduction part at the beginning, and its antonym is epilogue. Understood? So how many pilgrims in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales represent the knighthood class? 3. The correct option is 3. Take a glance on the question number 14. How many ecclesiastical, which means spiritual, ecclesiastical, which means spiritual, how many ecclesiastical characters are portrayed in the prologue? 8. Understood? 8. Let's go to the next point. So if we are talking about how many women characters figure in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, during the starting point, during the beginning of the Canterbury Tales, how many women characters figure? 3. Let's know about question number 16. It is believed that the host at the inn was a real man. What is the name of that host? It is believed that the host at the inn was a real man. What is the name of the host? The correct option is Harry Belly. Harry Belly. Take a glance on the question number 17. What is the name of the inn where pilgrims assembled, got together? So, what is the name of the inn where all the pilgrims got together for the night? That was Tabard Inn. Understood? If the question will come in the exam, what was the name of the inn where all the pilgrims got together, assembled for the night? That inn was Tabard Inn. Understood? Tabard Inn. Then come to the next. To which shrine? Shrine means small temple. To which shrine are the pilgrims going? Shrine of St. Thomas Becket in Canterbury. The students, take a glance on this point. To which shrine are the pilgrims going? Shrine of St. Thomas Becket at Canterbury. Let's go to the next point. Take a glance on the question number 19. One of the tales in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales is in prose. Which of the following? One of the tales in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales is in prose. Which of the following? The correct option is option A, the Parson's Tale. The Parson's Tale. Let's go to the next. One of the portrait in the prologue is that of the wife of Bath. What is Bath? One of the portraits in the prologue is that of the wife of Bath. So Bath, this is the name of the town to which she belonged. The name of the town which she belonged. This is known as Bath. He was as fresh as the month of May. He was as fresh as the month of May. This line occurs in the prologue. Whom does this line refer to? Square. This line refers to square. Then take a glance on question number 22. One of the following works is not a work of Chaucer. Which one? Which one of the following work is not a work of Chaucer? So dear students, The House of Prologue, it was also written by Chaucer. The Legend of Good Omen, it was also written by Geoffrey Chaucer. The House of Fame, it was also written by Geoffrey Chaucer. But The Owl and the Nightingale, it was not written by Geoffrey Chaucer. Let's go to the next. Which of the following is Chaucer's prose work? Which of the following is Chaucer's prose work? He is the father of English poetry and as well as the grandfather of English novel. And which of the following is Chaucer's prose work? Treatise on the Astrolabe. Treatise on the Astrolabe is Chaucer's prose work. Take a glance on question number 24. Which of the following poets wrote a famous poem, mourning the death of Chaucer? So while Chaucer passed away after that, he mourned a lot and he composed a poem on the death of Geoffrey Chaucer. Who is that poet? He is Occleve in the Governal of Princes. William Occleve. Occleve in the Governal of Princes. Let's go to the next. Chaucer was not indebted for his sources to one of the following. Chaucer was not indebted for his sources to one of the following. It was explicated by Homer. Chaucer was not indebted for his sources to one of the following. It was explicated by Homer. Then question number 26. In which tale Chaucer's daughter is killed by her father? In Geoffrey Chaucer's creation, the PGT tale, a daughter was killed by her father. PGT tale. The students mug up it. In Geoffrey Chaucer's PGT tale, a daughter was killed by her father. Chaucer is based in a part on a notable French sermon of Friar Lawrence. Chaucer dash is based on a notable French sermon of Friar Lawrence. This is Parson's Tales. This is Parson's Tales, which is based on the part on a notable French sermon of Friar Lawrence. Who has been called the morning star of Rensa? Geoffrey Chaucer is called the morning star of Rensa. Geoffrey Chaucer is called the morning star of Rensa. Let's go to the next. Which work of Chaucer was an allegory on the death of blank, the life of his patron? The Book of Duchess. Understood? The Book of Duchess. The Book of Duchess was an allegory on the death of blank and the life of patron. The Book of Duchess. The Book of Duchess was an allegory which was written on the death of blank, the wife of his patron. Then, which of Chaucer's work has the Trojan War as its background? Which of Chaucer's work has the Trojan War as its background? The correct option is Troilus and Cressade. Troilus and Cressade. Chaucer's work has the Trojan War as its background. Pandeyar, who is a Chaucerian character, appears in Troilus and Cressade. So this character Pandeyar, it was appeared in Troilus and Cresside. Let's go to the next. I have already explained this character. He was as fresh as the month of May. This line appears in the prologue. Who does this line refer to? It was referred to Scare. The next. Which of the following tales in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales is in prose? Which of the following tales in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales is in prose? This is the Parson's Tale. This is the Parson Tales. Next. He found English a dialect and left it English. Here it stands for. This sentence was explicated by John Dryden to Geoffrey Chaucer. Understood? This sentence was explicated by John Dryden to Geoffrey Chaucer. Take a glance on this question again. He found English a dialect and left it language. It was explicated by John Dryden to Geoffrey Chaucer. Let's go to the next. Which work of Chaucer bears a close resemblance to Dante's Divine Comedy? Which work of Chaucer bears a close resemblance to Dante's Divine Comedy? The correct option is The House of Fame. The House of Fame bears a close resemblance to Dante's Divine Comedy. Next question. In which work of Chaucer has first used the heroic couplet? In which work of Chaucer has first used the heroic couplet? This is The Legend of the Good Woman. The Legend of the Good Woman has first used the heroic couplet by Chaucer. Question number 37. Which work of Chaucer entitled him to come of being called the father of English poetry? Which work of Chaucer entitled him that the calm of being called the father of English poetry? This is Canterbury Tales. Question number 38. The wife of both was a deaf. Take a glance on the next. In Non's Parson's Tale, the poor widow had 3 sons. In Non's Parson's Tales, the poor widow had 3 sons. In the first line of the prologue, which month has been referred by Chaucer? April. In the first line of prologue, April has been referred by Chaucer. In the prologue, which character is fond of hunting and riding? Monk. Monk in the prologue by Chaucer, the character Monk is fond of hunting as well as riding. Then, which of Chaucer works celebrate Saint Valentine's Day? Though Saint Valentine's Day was celebrated by the Parliament of Fools, which works of Chaucer celebrates Saint Valentine Day. The correct option is the Parliament of Fools. Take a glance on the question number 43. The Troilus and Cresside. The Troilus and Cresside, it was written by Geoffrey Chaucer. The Troilus and Cresside. The lifespan of Chaucer is 1342 1400. Chaucer had known 4 languages. Understood? And which I have already told that Chaucer, he was an English poet, author, as well as a civil servant, and he was best known for his creation Canterbury Tales. Understood? And on the other hand, he is also known as the father of English poetry, Geoffrey Chaucer. He was the first writer to be buried in what was since, understood, in Westminster Abbey. Then the verse of Canterbury Tales consist of rhymed couples. Understood? The Canterbury Tales consist of rhymed couples. I am repeating that question, which question I have already discussed. How many pilgrims are going on the pilgrimage in the Chaucer Canterbury Tales? 29. Understood? 29. Where did they stay? They stay in Tabard Inn. Tabard Inn. Let's go to the next. The 100 Years' War fought between England as well as France. The 100 Years' War fought between England and France. Beowulf is the most important Anglo-Saxon literary work. Beowulf is the most important Anglo-Saxon literary work. This is an epic. This is an epic. In which century did Norman conquest take place? 11th century. Let's go to the next. The War of Roses figures in the work of Shakespeare. So I'm just talking about a little on William Shakespeare. He was born in 1564 at Stratford upon Avon. Understood? So Shakespeare is called the Bard of Avon. Avon, this is the name of a river which was nearby the Stratford, and the Stratford is a village where Shakespeare was born, and Stratford was located on the bank of Avon. Understood? Shakespeare, in his lifetime he had written 154 sonnets and 37 plays. Understood? So William Shakespeare, he passed away in 1616. He had 3 children, Susna, Judith and Hamnet, and his wife name was Annie Hathaway. Understood? William Shakespeare. Let's go to the next. Who of the following is called the morning star of Reformation? And those who are following him, they are known as Lollards. Understood? I'm just talking about John Wycliffe. He is called the morning star of the Reformation, and those who are following him, they are known as Lollards. And he is the first person who translated Bible. Who? John Wycliffe. Question number 52. How many pilgrims in the prologue to Canterbury Tales represents the military procession? 3. 3 pilgrims in the prologue to Canterbury Tales represents the military profession. Then take a glance on question number 53. How many ecclesiastical, which is known as ecclesiastical, which means spiritual. How many spiritual characters are portrayed in the prologue? 8. Understood? Let's go to the next. What is the name of the inn? So which I have already discussed, where the pilgrims assembled, all the pilgrims stayed, put up, which I have already told, Tabardin. Then, which of the 4 chief dialects that flourished in the, flourish means developed, which of the 4 chief dialects that flourished in pre-Chaucerian period became standard English in Chaucer time? This is East Midland. Let's go to the next. He found English a dialect and left it a language. It was explicated by laws. Then let's go to the next. Which of the following poem of Chaucer is considered the first novel in English? This is Troilus and Cressida. It was considered as the first novel in English by Geoffrey Chaucer. Troilus and Cressida. Then come to question number 58. There is something common between Boccaccio's Philostrato and Chaucer's. There is something common between Boccaccio's Philostratos and Boccaccio's. It has explicated in Troilus and Cressida. Let's go to the next. Which of the following tales of Chaucer deals with the chivalric romance of Plalson and Archite? This is the Night Tale. This is the Night Tale. Let's go to question number 60. Chaucer was called the earliest of the great modern. Chaucer was called the earliest of great modern. The morning star of Rensa. Who initiates these remarks? Albert. Albert. Who? Albert. Then come to the next. Which of the following words of Chaucer presents the picture of strong united nation? Which of the following works of Chaucer presents the picture of a strong united nation? This is Canterbury Tales. What we are talking about? This is Canterbury Tales. How many tales to be told by pilgrimage? 4 tales. Understood? 4. Then come to the next. Where is the tomb of Saint situated? Canterbury. Amor Vincent Omnia. Amor Vincent Omnia in Chaucer's prologue, which means love conquer all. So there was a phrase which is used in Chaucer's prologue, Amor Vincent Omnia, which means love conquer all. Love conquer all. Let's go to the next. Which of the following tale is in prose? This is Parson's Tale. This is Parson's Tale. Then, who is known as the connecting line between Chaucer and Spenser? This is Thomas Sackville. Thomas Sackville and Nicholas Sackville, who is they had written Gorboduc. They had written Gorboduc. Who is known as the connecting link between Chaucer and Spenser? This is Thomas Sackville. Then come to question number 67. The work of Wit and Sorry. The work of Wit and Sorry were published in Tottel's Miscellany in 1557. Then come to question number 68. The first English playhouse called the theatre. The first English, like the first picture skew novel, that was Unfortunate Travel, which was written by Thomas Nash. Thomas Nash. But today I am going to explain you about the first English playhouse. This is the theatre, which was found in 1576, and the picture skew novel Unfortunate Travel, which was written, our first picture skew novel was The Unfortunate Traveler, which was written by Thomas Nash. He is the father of picture skew novel. Then question number 69, which I was talking about a little bit before. Garbadag, the first regular comedy. In English, it was written by Sackville and Norton. Thomas Sackville as well as Thomas Norton. They had written the first regular comedy, which is called Garbadag. Then come to the next. When were theatre closed in England? In 1642. Understood? In 1642. After that, reopened in 1660. In 1642, the theatres were closed in England. When did the Great Fire of London take place? 1666. In 1666, the Great Fire of London took place. Then, who among the following is the Chaucerian? Alexander Barclay. He is considered as the Chaucerian. Then question number 73. Which work of Scottish Chaucerian imitates Chaucer's House of Fame? I am recalling an extra point. The House of Mr. Biswas. Who can say the student who had written it? V.S. Naipaul. Understood? So here is the question. Which work of Scottish Chaucerian imitates Chaucer's House of Fame? This is Douglas, the Place of Honor. Douglas, the Place of Honor. Then let's go to the next. Caxton, William Caxton. You have to know his full name. William Caxton Printing Press was set up in 1476. 1476. Then, which is the first book in English in poetic prose? Morte d'Arthur. Morte d'Arthur is the first book in English in poetic prose. Then come to the next. Which work is considered to be the true prologue to the Renaissance? Mori Utopia. Mori Utopia. Which work is considered to be the true prologue to the Renaissance? This is Mori Utopia. Then, Chaucer wrote Romance of Rose under the influence of De Loris and De Moyon. Chaucer wrote Romance of Rose under influence of De Loris and De Moyon. This is the correct option. Then take a glance on 79. Which were resulted in bringing Tudor rule England? Which were resulted in bringing Tudor rule England? This is the War of Roses. The War of Roses. Then question number 80. The Travel of Sir John Mandeville. The Travel of Sir John Mandeville is believed to be the English translation of certain French writer whose name was Jean de Bourgogne. I am repeating this question again. The students take a glance on it once again. The Travel of Sir John Mandeville. The Travel of Sir John Mandeville is believed to be the English translation of a certain French writer. What was his name? His name was Jean de Bourgogne. Jean de Bourgogne. Dear students, brush up your knowledge on William Shakespeare, and in my next video, I will provide you a lot of points on William Shakespeare as well as other facts on English literature which will have counted in on your syllabus. Brush up your knowledge, mug up all of these, and crack your examinations. Thanks a lot.